This is Counterpoint, and I'm your host, Tanya Granick Allen. In late August 2024, an Ontario court ruled to uphold the decision by the College of Psychologists of Ontario against Dr. Jordan Peterson, ordering him to undergo social media training. If you recall, Peterson was reprimanded following numerous complaints against him for social media posts, which the college deemed accounted to professional misconduct. The college ordered Peterson to pay for media coaching with a threat of pulling his license if he failed to comply. Peterson cried foul, declaring this to be an infringement on his free expression. He applied for a judicial review, and, well, here we are today. He has agreed to the training, but declared that he will broadcast it. So, is this an infringement on free expression? Or, as a psychologist, should Dr. Peterson's social media posts be subject to college scrutiny? Should he be forced to undergo training, or is that an unreasonable request? Well, joining me now to unpack it all are Bruce Pardy, Executive Director of Rights Probe and Professor of Law at Queen's University, Scott Masson, Professor at Tyndale University, and Lisa Bildy, lawyer at Libertas Law. Thank you both for joining me, all three of you for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have such a powerful panel to discuss and dive right in. So let's do that. Lisa, why don't you walk us through, for our viewers who may not be as familiar with this case, what is the nature of the complaints levied against Dr. Jordan Peterson?
Well, of course, as we all know, Dr. Peterson has a very wide profile, a huge profile really on social media and on YouTube, and he says a lot of things that can be considered controversial by some. He likes to poke the bear, as it were, and he likes to provoke conversation. So one of the posts had to do with the transgender surgeries and so on that a Hollywood star was going through. Another one referred to an oversized or plus size model and indicated that he did not find that to be beautiful. There were several along those same lines. Somebody was complaining about overpopulation of the earth, and he made a quip, well, you first, which was twisted to suggest that he was counseling someone to commit suicide. There were several along those lines. There were some criticisms of political figures as well. And apparently there have been some new complaints to the CPO regarding comments that he made, a specific tweet he made about Kamala Harris and how she was speaking down to her audience as though they were, quote, retarded children. So that generated a new flurry of complaints just most recently, which Dr. Peterson has written about in the National Post. Now, I do want to clarify quickly that he has not been reprimanded formally, nor has he been found to have committed professional misconduct. At this very early stage, this is just the college trying to control his speech, certainly, but do it in a way that is without the due process that you would normally have in a finding of professional misconduct. In other words, this is a process where you're supposed to basically go before a committee of your peers to get your wrist slapped a little bit to get you back on track. And that's what they're trying to do. Although, unfortunately, this process is now public. And so essentially, they are suggesting that he has committed professional misconduct, but without the due process that would normally be afforded for a finding like that.
Okay, so thank you for making that distinction, because I kind of overlooked that, and that's an important distinction to make. So there hasn't been a due process. It's sort of a one-sided hand-me-down. Bruce, I think you're chomping at the bit to chime in here. Please go for it.
Well, but this point is very important. And there has not been a hearing. He has not been found guilty of anything. This is remedial, and it is at the college's discretion or whim that he undergo this training. And I think it's important also to point out that none of these complaints come from patients, and none of them come from his practice. He's not actually practicing anymore. Mm-hmm. So this is purely about his social media commentary, not about his competence to practice psychology. And I think this reveals the territory that the regulatory college is now claiming. So originally, the whole reason for having a professional regulator was to make sure that people practicing the profession were competent to do so. But this kind of complaint shows that they have wandered away from that mandate, and they are now really policing political speech.
Right.
That's what this is all about.
Okay, we're going to have to unpack this further when we return from this commercial break. Please stick around.